I also know this as well. To make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as enemies. We are not enemies. I will work as hard for those who didn't vote for me as I will for those who did vote for me. What are the next things that are going to be attacked? Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history. We are not enemies.
The MAGA crowd as one of the most extreme political outfits in history. Give me a break. I guess he forgot about the roughly $2 billion worth of damage during the summer of 2020 riots caused by Antifa and BLM. But of course, we never heard him say a word about those people. Look, in case Joe Biden is interested in who the MAGA crowd is, Ainsley, these are people that love America, that get up in the morning, they go to work, they pay their taxes, they go to church, they believe in the police, they believe that we should be a sovereign nation. But Joe Biden is missing the bigger point here, because the MAGA movement was started because of failed politicians exactly like Joe Biden, because the American people were sick and tired of getting fed the same old garbage by politicians who would go to Washington, D.C. and then work for themselves and never work for the people. That is why this movement is founded, is people that love America.
My fellow Americans, in life there's truth, and tragically there are lies. Lies conceived and spread for profit and power.
Really, nigga?
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Joe Biden is a dummy.
I've been dumb.
We must be absolutely clear about what is true and what is a lie.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition, graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named Outstanding Political Science Student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
So what real leadership looks like is Joe Biden.
We must be absolutely clear about what is true and what is a lie. We warned him about, as early as January, the middle of January, I was saying a pandemic is coming. We should be prepared.
He claims he sounded the alarm early on about the deadly virus and that President Trump did everything wrong. Okay, Joe's lying, just like his friends in the media mob and, well, most liberal Democrats these days. Joe Biden is living an alternative reality.
As early as January, the middle of January, I was saying a pandemic is coming. We should be prepared. But this is not a pandemic. And a virus is what we're dealing with now. It's a particularly lousy kind of virus. It's like flu on steroids. It's a really bad kind of flu. Get vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, even if you do catch the virus, quote unquote, not many people do. If you do, you're not likely to get sick. You're not likely to get sick.
The Orange County Coroner's Office is investigating the death of a woman who passed away several days after getting her second Moderna vaccine. The family says the mother and grandmother was healthy before she got her shot and that her sudden death came as a shock.
If you do, you're not likely to get sick. You're probably going to be symptomless. You're not going to be in a position where your life is in danger.
First, are there cases of vaccinated individuals dying from COVID-19?
Absolutely, there are. Vaccination against COVID-19 or any other infectious disease, for that matter, is not 100%.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Ready? I'm ready. That was easy.
That was easy.
Vice President Kamala Harris testing positive for COVID. The vice president was vaccinated and twice boosted.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
So what real leadership looks like is Joe Biden.
New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan. Look, there is no federal solution. I will take care of this. I will end this.
There is no federal solution.
This gets solved at a state level, and it ultimately gets down to where the rubber meets the road. Look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
And that little girl was me.
And here's the truth. The former President of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election. We're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. And now, after a long night of counting, it's clear that we're winning enough states to reach 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency.
What you are seeing is a crime. These are fraudulent votes. In 2 of our 5 key states, you were allowed to give your ballot to be delivered by a family member or a caregiver. This is vote harvesting, but it's not the same as ballot trafficking. In no state in America is it legal for nonprofit organizations to collect ballots and pay mules to deliver them to mail-in drop boxes.
And because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution, he can't accept he lost.
Now we come to the most important question of all. Was the magnitude of vote trafficking in these key swing states enough to tip the balance in the 2020 presidential election? Let's first narrow in on just our 2,000 mules. Their average number of Dropbox visits, 38. Their average number of illegal ballots deposited per visit, 5. That's 380,000 illegal votes. But was this sufficient to put Biden in the White House? To answer that question, we must look at each key state. Georgia, 250 mules, averaging 24 Dropbox visits and 5 illegal ballots per drop. That's 30,000 illegally trafficked votes, far more than the 12,000 vote difference between Trump and Biden. So Georgia, with 16 electoral votes, moves over into the Trump column. In Arizona, the numbers are roughly the same. 200 mules, averaging 20 Dropbox visits and 5 illegal ballots per drop. That's 20,000 illegal votes. Again, these illegal votes are substantially more than the 10,000 vote margin that gave the state's 11 electoral votes to Biden. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania alone, 1,100 mules, averaging 50 Dropbox visits and 5 ballots per visit. That's 275,000 illegal votes, again comfortably exceeding the 80,000 vote margin between Trump and Biden. So Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes goes for Trump. Shockingly, even this narrow way of looking at just our 2,000 mules in these swing states gives Trump the win, with 279 electoral votes to Biden's 259.
Indeed, Senator Harris and I are on track to win more votes than any ticket in the history of this country. He can't accept he lost, even though that's what 93 United States senators, his own attorney general, his own vice president, governors and state officials in every battleground state have all said he lost. That's what 81 million of you did as you voted for a new way forward.
But no one thinks that our 2,000 mules were the only mules trafficking illegal votes. To widen the search, Greg and his team lowered the criterion from 10 or more to 5 or more drop boxes. This revealed a huge upsurge in the number of mules from 2,000 to 54,000. 54,000 mules. Next, they used a very conservative estimate of just 3 ballots per drop box visit. Now, when we multiply this increased number of mules times the 5 drop box visits per mule times just 3 illegal votes per drop, we find election fraud on an astonishing scale.
And so at this moment, we must decide, what kind of nation are we going to be? Are we going to be a nation that accepts political violence as a norm?
They're not going to stop, and this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that they're not going to let up, and they should not.
Are we going to be a nation where we allow partisan election officials to overturn the legally expressed will of the people?
In Wisconsin, 83,565 illegal votes were trafficked. In Georgia, 92,670. In Pennsylvania, 209,505. In Michigan, 226,590. And in Arizona, 207,435. Using this calculus, Trump would have won all the key states. And the final electoral vote, 305 to 233.
I'm very proud of our campaign. Only 3 presidential campaigns in the past have defeated an incumbent president. Are we going to be a nation that lives not by the light of the truth, but in the shadow of lies?
South Carolina, though, was your firewall.
You've said it, my firewall. I've never said it.
The campaign has said it's your firewall.
No, it's not firewall. I said I'm going to do well there. And I think I have a real firewall in South Carolina. I've never said it.
The campaign has said it's your firewall.
No, it's not firewall. I said I'm going to do well there. And I think I have a real firewall in South Carolina. A nation that lives not by the light of the truth, but in the shadow of lies. It was a little disconcerting. Look out and see that his whole section, no one had masks on. While my wife was sitting further down, had a mask on. The people with us had masks on. I didn't quite get that.
You were able to see that from where you were?
Yes, when they came in, yes. Because I was standing backstage, and you could see people coming in, and a lot of people didn't have masks on.
So you're talking about the Trump family.
No one had masks on. While my wife was sitting further down, had a mask on. The people with us had masks on. I didn't quite get that.
You were able to see that from where you were?
Yes, when they came in, yes. Because I was standing backstage, and you could see people coming in, and a lot of people didn't have masks on. The way forward is to recognize the truth, to live by it. Former president's supporters are trying to rewrite history. They want you to see Election Day as the day of insurrection. And the riot that took place here on January 6th as a true expression of the will of the people.
Okay, Joe's lying, just like his friends in the media mob and, well, most liberal Democrats these days.
How do you explain somebody going to a whole bunch of different drop boxes with a whole bunch of different ballots on the same night at 3:57 a.m. in the morning? How do you explain that? That alone. I'm sorry. I think a whole bunch of people in this country are going to go, oh, my God.
I think that if every American saw that, I think it would move the needle. However, their ability to keep their side ignorant is total.
That's going to be impossible to keep a lid on this thing. It can't be dismissed. It can't be dismissed.
They have ruined Election Day in the United States of America. That's provable. And that's enough for me to fight the left with every fiber in my body.
I am your voice.